Maggie fixes a lovely breakfast. I have oatmeal.
Okay, good.
And I have either a avocado or banana.
Okay.
And I have a piece of raisin toast.
Okay.
Or she makes me blitzes.
All right.
Once in a while.
Good idea.
Breakfast.
Yes. I have a waffle with an egg on top.
Okay,
I mean,
excellent.
she's really good. And I leave the morning at 11 o'clock to play bridge.
Do you every day, 4 times a week?
Yeah, 3-4 times a week.
How do you get there?
The rest of the time, I what?
Do you have a driver who comes and takes you there?
No, all these girls take me.
Oh, the girls
or,
in the
and
bridge
Vern
club.
takes me home. Yes, yeah.
And how long do you play bridge every day?
About 4 hours. We from 12 we get out at 3.
What do you recommend to do to be as bright as you are?
Well, I think bridge does it, honey. You really have to think a lot with this bridge. I mean, it's not easy. And it's a challenge. And so I love it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rita. Happy birthday to you. What for?
So everyone can see you, and then we can all cry when we talk about you.
Dad?
I forgot to mention that there's very, very exciting guests here from New Jersey, particularly my son, Julian, my wife, Jennifer, and me. So I regret for not mentioning.
For those of you who don't know, my mother and Rita were first cousins. And Rita and I connected about 5 years ago. Rita's mother, Minette, and my grandfather, Theodore, were brother and sister. And when Rita and I first met, she told me that her Minette's and Theodore's parents, Sigmund and Emma, she had spent a lot of time with Emma. Emma actually died in Rita's house, and Rita, had Emma's wedding ring. I got very excited because my grandmother, when I was in college, gave me Sigmund's wedding band. And on my next trip to Milwaukee, Rita was very, very kind and generous to give me Emma's wedding band. And so these wedding bands are now together on my hand. Rita was very close to my grandparents for a long time. And I have my grandmother's date book, which is filled with all sorts of notations. And in this little booklet that I'm going to give you as a present, I have made copies of all of the notes relating to people, you. There's a note in here that says Rita was engaged in 1937. And before Facebook, before Twitter, before Instagram, before even email, there was something that people used to communicate with each other and tell each other notes, and it was called the newspaper. And one of the little pieces of paper in my grandmother's date book is a clipping from the newspaper that says, Miss Rita Kahn from Eau Claire is visiting at the home of her uncle and aunt, Mr. and Mrs. Ted Seeley.
Oh, it's so nice.
In here is a picture of Rita when she was 2, when she was about 12, 1933, and some other treasures.
Thank you,
I'm Rita. I was married to my Uncle Max, who was the brother of my mother, Isabel. And she's been my aunt now for 74 years. Pretty good. We think of Aunt Rita many different ways, but she's certainly been the innkeeper for the Cash family on many occasions. When my mom and dad, and I think I was born then, came back from Ohio at the end of the Second World War, before Max and Rita put us up. When we were evicted from our house on 72nd Street because we were trying to keep our German Shepherd Heidi hidden from the landlord who didn't like dogs, they took us in, and Heidi and Mickey, their boxer, became really close friends during that time. So there were the 5 of us and 2 dogs and Julie and Lynn and Rita and Max in that little house on Frederick Avenue. And when my folks passed away, I can't remember, 15 years ago now? About? Rita always took us in, whether it was Ellen, myself, Kathy, and would put us up wherever she was staying on Lake Drive or wherever she had her place. Her generosity was really just absolutely wonderful. She's always been that to us, and we extend our love, myself, Ellen, Kathy, to her on this absolutely wonderful day. There's just so much I could say, but let me pass it on to Fred and happy birthday.
Families tell stories about memorable events over and over again to remember them and to reinforce personality traits, family dynamics, and connections. As Richard said, that family story of his family joining Rita and Max so many times, I've heard that, I don't know, 50 times, 75 times. And the frequent stories told about my grandmother and me, the most frequent one is the cross-country road trip we made when she drove me back from Florida in about 1980, 1981. Ask her about it, funny story. Then there's the story about the time she nearly broke her leg, and I
couldn't get around to every table. I have little tidbits to tell about everybody here, and some that aren't here.
Okay. I'm going to say a couple of things to everyone, since they're all listening together.
Oh, I can. I've known about this for about 2 or 3 months. I said to Fred, let's have a nice quiet dinner with my extended family, which is the Stearns, and with them. And we'd go to some club and and we could have a nice quiet time. And Fred said, Grams, no, you're gonna have a party. I said, Fred, never, who am I gonna invite? I mean, who wants to listen to a 100-year-old gal? I don't know what to do with it. So Sandy Stern got into it. She said, Rita, it's got to be your decision. Fred's right. I said, well, Sandy, we'll go with you. And she said, no. They went back and forth. Finally, I said, okay. But there's only about 15 or 20 people that I could depend on seeing or coming to see me. Well, here you are, all of you. And I'm so blessed, and I'm so honored. And you know what I'm going to call this? My celebrity party. Because everyone here has given themselves to, not just to me, but to everybody. The Bridge World, the medical, everybody has been absolutely wonderful. And I thank you all again for being here. I will come around to your table and tell you a few things maybe you don't know. Maybe you do. Anyway, thank you, everyone. And now I think we're going to have the dessert, and then I'll speak.
It's a little surprise.
And I know her brother Joe, that started it. Well, I met Max in September, and he proposed at Christmas time, and I said, you better ask my father. He said, very well. And I see Jody, and I see Jason, and I see Scott. Thank you all for coming here. It's been such a pleasure, but I had to get a new doctor. I went up to Dr. Darian one day and said, Dr. Darian, are you going to retire one day? He said, to what, Rita? I said, well, you have a gorgeous wife. You have a beautiful, big family, and he does. And I said, your golf is tremendous, and you love to travel. And you know what he said? Who would take care of you and the rest of my patients? Is that sweet? Dr. Walter. I can still see you. He takes care of my eyes. You're a dear. If I have a problem, he'll say, can you come in? What time? Usually about your lunchtime, dear. But he sees me, and he gives me all the time, and he gives me wonderful, wonderful service.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, sweetie. Thank you so much, Nancy. I love you too. Thank you so much. I'm sorry the other sister can't be here.
Linda.
Yes. And thank you all. I love you all. You know I do.
We love you.
I know.
So Dad, why don't you introduce
Oh, look at that
moment?
smile.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much.